We are living in an extraordinary moment in history. Right now, in 2025, three world historic, game-changing technologies are hitting their tipping points at the exact same time. Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Curious Engines. This is the place where we turn on our curiosity and explore through it. And today, we're digging into the fourth great reinvention. America, the world itself, is going through massive, painful contortions because of it. That feeling you have, the tension, the chaos, the sense that the old rules just stopped working, it's not new. 3 times before, roughly every 80 years, Americans have stood in this exact same spot, watching an old system collapse while a completely new one is being born. I've been observing these deep currents for decades, tracking how technology reshapes civilizations.
And I'm here to tell you, we are smack in the middle of the fourth great reinvention of America.
Successful technologies don't arrive with a big bang. They creep, they're clunky, they're expensive, people laugh, and then, almost overnight, they cross a tipping point. One day you're hailing a yellow taxi with cash, the next day every human on Earth is summoning a car with a phone. That's the S-curve of adoption. Right now, we are watching 3 of those S-curves bend vertical at the exact same moment. But here's what most people miss. Every single time this has happened before in an 80-year technological explosion, America first had to tear down an old system that no longer worked. And the teardown is always messy, always polarizing, sometimes violent. Let's prove it. Go back to the late 18th century. Most of Europe is still feudal. Kings, lords, the church own vast land. Then a set of revolutionary ideas and inventions changes everything. Constitutional representative government, separation of church and state, institutional science, modern finance, free market economics, and the idea that continuous progress is possible. Within a generation, a frontier society writes a constitution, fights wars that define its independence, buys vast territories, invents machines that change agriculture and transportation, and lays foundations that will shape the modern world. That 25-year burst created the modern era we still live in. Jump ahead 80 years. The mid-19th century explodes in violence and transformation. The old plantation system refuses to adapt, and the conflict tears the country apart. Hundreds of thousands die, but out of that destruction comes a different country. 160-acre homesteads redistributed, land-grant colleges built, a transcontinental railroad stitched the continent, steel rails stretch across the land, and inventions from the telephone to the light bulb begin to remap daily life. In just a couple of decades, America pivots from an agrarian society to the world's industrial engine. Jump another 80 years. The 1930s bring the Great Depression, mass unemployment, and the real fear of social collapse. Then, a global war forces a reversal. From the ashes, a 25-year construction of institutions births the greatest middle class the world has ever known. Massive public investment, GI education programs, highways that bind the country, suburbs, mass consumer culture, early networks of computing, and sweeping social programs that redefine citizenship and economic expectation. That period built the high watermark of 20th century capitalism. The pattern is crystal clear. Every roughly 80 years, an old economic and social system hits hard limits. Massive political polarization erupts, the old system gets dismantled in some form, and then a 25-year explosion of innovation and institution building creates a new civilization. 1787, 1865, 1945, do the math. We are in year 80 again. Welcome to the fourth turning. Which technologies are driving this turning? There are 3 tipping points that matter more than any headlines. The first is artificial intelligence, the electricity of the 21st century. A few years ago, a breakthrough interface changed everything. Millions of people tried it in days, tens of millions in months. Then model capabilities leapfrogged. Reasoning models began to solve problems that used to need advanced degrees. Video generation systems went from novelty to near professional quality. Autonomous agents are already taking on multi-step tasks. This isn't another app. This is the beginning of an age that amplifies mental capability the same way steam and electricity amplified physical capability. And like electricity, the cost curve is collapsing. What used to require armies of specialists is now accessible through software and data. That changes every job, every creative practice, every institution that depends on human attention and judgment. The second is abundant clean energy. The first time in history, our primary energy source is something we manufacture rather than dig up. Solar and wind costs have fallen dramatically. Battery prices keep dropping. Manufacturing scale follows predictable learning curves. Every big doubling in production drives big cost declines. Across large regions, wind, solar, and storage are already the cheapest electricity ever produced. Battery technology advances, and economies of scale point toward vehicles with much longer ranges and far shorter charge times. Put this together, and you get cheap, reliable, zero marginal cost energy coming online within a decade. That changes industry, transport, cities, and geopolitics. The third is bioengineering, the leap from reading DNA to writing DNA at scale. What used to take billions in years can now be done in a lab for a fraction of the cost and time. Gene editing techniques have moved beyond first-generation tools into precision editing and base-level changes. Cell-based and fermentation-based foods are replacing animal agriculture in laboratories and pilot plants. Cultivated proteins and fermentation-produced ingredients are scaling. Gene therapies are curing diseases that used to be lifelong sentences. Anti-aging and longevity programs are moving from hope to clinical trials. When biology becomes programmable, the potential for medicine, agriculture, and material science is enormous. Those 3, AI, energy, and bio, are not isolated. They interact. Cheap energy unlocks massive computing and manufacturing. Advanced AI accelerates biological research and design. Biotechnology and material science reshape energy systems. Together, they form a new technological platform across which entire new industries and institutions will be built. But technology is only the foundation. The real question is, what kind of economy, what kind of democracy, what kind of global order do we build on top of AI, plus abundant energy, plus bioengineering? Because the system we have right now, financial capitalism optimized for the top 10%, is cracking. Median wages are flat for decades. Life expectancy has stagnated or fallen in segments. A huge portion of households live paycheck to paycheck. People are fed up. There are 3 plausible directions we could take. Not predictions, but visible pathways already emerging. One path is from financial capitalism to regenerative, sustainable capitalism. That means moving from shareholder primacy to stakeholder thinking. Businesses that measure success by well-being, not just GDP. It means new accounting for natural capital, new corporate forms that embed social and environmental goals, and economic policies that reward long-term health over short-term extraction. A second path is from analog representative democracy to digital democracy experiments. Pilots in liquid voting, quadratic voting, citizen assemblies chosen by sortition, and other hybrid systems are already happening in pockets around the world. Digital tools can expand participation, increase deliberation, and create mechanisms that scale civic wisdom if designed with care and equity. A third path is from narrow nation-state competition to planetary coordination.
Global risks like climate change, pandemics, digital systemic risk, and space governance require cooperation beyond the old diplomatic architecture. New multilateral frameworks for technology safety, planetary health, and shared infrastructure are already starting. If these experiments scale, they could form the scaffolding of a more coordinated planetary civilization.
All of these changes require political and institutional reform at the scale of a constitution or a reconstruction. That is the uncomfortable part. Every prior reinvention demanded that people who benefited from the old order give up power, privilege, or ways of life. Southern plantation owners lost everything in the 19th century. Industrial titans accepted crushing tax rates in the mid-20th century. Today, the resistance will come from entrenched wealth, legacy energy companies, and any institution whose identity is wrapped up in 20th century structures. Resistance will be ferocious. It will take political fights, legal battles, cultural conflicts, and social movements. The teardown will be messy, but history shows the new system often wins because it creates vastly more abundance for many more people. Cheap energy, powerful cognitive tools, and programmable biology can produce an abundance the old system could not imagine, if we design institutions to distribute that abundance fairly. So what can you do right now? First, recognize that exhaustion and anxiety are part of the process. When old systems crack, people feel fear. That exhaustion is literally the sound of the old world dying. Accept it, but don't let it paralyze you. Second, educate yourself about how these technologies work and where they're already changing things. Understand that these are systems-level shifts, not just new products. Follow developments in AI capabilities, in energy economics and deployment, and in biological manufacturing and therapy pipelines. Third, invest your time and skills in durable capabilities that complement machine intelligence, systems thinking, complex problem solving, empathy and judgment, the ability to manage and design systems, and civic skills for collective action. Machines will augment technical tasks, but social and institutional design will remain human work. Fourth, use your political voice. Policy choices made in the next decade will determine whether abundance gets hoarded at the top or shared broadly. Support experiments that redistribute power and reward stewardship. New corporate forms, stronger safety nets, public investment in education and infrastructure, and democratic innovations that increase citizen participation. Finally, imagine big. Every prior reinvention started with people willing to imagine something that looked impossible at the moment. 1787 was a radical experiment in self-government. The post-Civil War Reconstruction rewired a continent. The mid-20th century built a social contract that produced the largest middle class in history. 2025 is our turn. The technologies are ready. The old system is cracking. All that's missing is a citizenry that will imagine institutions worthy of these capabilities. Picture a world with near-free energy powering distributed manufacturing and abundant computing, where AI co-pilots amplify human creativity 100-fold, where meat and materials are grown without slaughter or mining, where medicine is predictive and curative rather than merely palliative, and where governance systems are designed to coordinate at the scale of global problems. That's not fantasy, it's plausible if policy, ethics, and civic will line up with technological possibility. This is civilizational design work at the scale of founding a nation. It will not be tidy. It will involve trade-offs, setbacks, and tough choices, but it will also create opportunities for new industries, new professions, and new forms of human flourishing that are unimaginable from the vantage point of the old order. If you're watching this and you feel a spark of excitement about what could come next, lean into it. Learn, build, organize, vote, design. Support institutions that distribute the benefits of technology. Push for laws and norms that protect dignity and shared prosperity, because your children will live in the world we design now. And if you feel exhausted by the chaos, that's normal. Rest, reconnect to the people who matter, and then get back to work. Reinventions don't happen by accident. They happen because people show up. We get one shot every 80 years to redesign the future. 1787 gave us the Constitution, 1865 stitched a continent with steel and universities, 1945 built the greatest middle class the world has ever known. 2025 is our turn. The technologies are ready. The old system is cracking. All that's missing is us, people willing to imagine something bigger than returning to normal. So don't ask whether everything will change. Ask, what do we want it to become? And then get to work. If this deep dive opened your eyes, smash the like button and subscribe to the Curious Engines. I bring you updates the moment new data drops. Stay curious, stay alert, because the universe is full of wild, impossible, breathtaking surprises. This is the Curious Engines, signing off. Keep driving your curiosity.